Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It's me. It's me, Mike Lepre, King Michael. This is legit fantasy basketball. It's Thursday night. It's 8:15. I know we say we start at 8, but this is pretty good for us. So be happy. In general, be happy. And if I'm going to say be happy, let me bring in Brother Ray. Brother Ray, are we happy tonight?
We're happy, but as a Sixer fan, I don't know if I'm really that happy.
Not super happy. Not like obscene Fresh Prince of Bel-Air type shirt happy.
Not Kyle Lowry happy, I can tell you that.
Well, speaking of happy, if you look in the definition under happy, Coach TJ. Coach TJ, how are we tonight?
George Hill is so boring. That's how I am tonight. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, exciting trade deadline.
Oh yeah.
This is cool stuff. The whole league just took it's like it got put in a blender and somebody hit pulse like every 4 hours today. Pretty cool stuff.
All right. So I'm gonna let you lead. Give me the top, I don't know, 2 or 3 topics in your opinion, and then kick it to Brother Ray. Because I want to hear you guys talk about free agency. Because if I'm being honest, I've been boning up on my baseball, baloncesto. So
I'm excited about legit fantasy baseball. I had my draft last night. That's another day, but I had my draft last night. Very exciting. But the 3 stories to me, if I had to pull them out of the sky, one's got to be Miami. 2 has got to be the fire sale in Orlando. And then 3 is just like the complete point guard shuffle that took place today. Like point guards all over the place. Rondo, Lou Williams, name them. Everybody's moving all over the place. And I guess number 4 has to be that everyone thought Lowry was pretty much gone and he didn't go anywhere. But to me, Miami and Chicago had a great day. Chicago had a great day too. So but I think we should start with Miami. Off air, Brother Ray was talking about Pat Riley and his deal. So, yeah, what were you telling to me? Because everybody's got to hear that about Riley as a GM.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Riley should be in the NBA Hall of Fame just for what he's done as a GM of the Heat. I mean, you look at the moves. This is a guy who never sits pat. He finds a way, and he gets these players. These players want to play for him. I mean, going out Oladipo, knowing that they're going to sign Aldridge, Bjelica, another great key role player that they can use down low. I mean, they really helped themselves today.
18 months ago, Miami didn't have Oladipo, Butler, or Aldridge. So what does that say about Riley? And when you compare it to other GMs all across the league that can't do anything, that the Celtics today did absolutely nothing. Danny Ainge should be ashamed of himself. When Riley, every couple of years or every year, he gets a guy, like whether it's Shaq, whether it's forget the LeBron clown show and all of that, but Riley gets guys, and today was no different. So Miami, when we started this podcast, I mean, they were 10-11 seed and coming off of finals, and instead of being like, well, we had a good run last year and this is it, he's like, yeah, no, we're going to go try and win the 4 seed. Like, we're going to go try and make noise in the playoffs. And right now, with Embiid hurt and the Sixers doing shit today, you can make a case Miami's got the second best roster in the Eastern Conference, and it's all because of what they did in one day.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's definitely a crazy thing. Right?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the Celtics, and really, I mean, they needed to do more. I mean, everyone was talking Aaron Gordon, and I mean, Denver getting Aaron Gordon now, I mean, that is just unbelievable in itself. You put him with Jokic, you're talking about a serious team now in the West. But the Celtics not coming away with someone like Aaron Gordon, Ainge should be ashamed. And again, 4 years a nice player.
He is.
He's not moving the needle for them. Mo Wagner, that's not moving the needle for them, guys. He has to do more. He's going to hang on to those draft picks like they're his kids.
Yep.
You
And
have to make a deal.
you do. Okay, so a buddy, all my buddies are Celtics fans, but maybe they're just punting the season. But how many years is Ainge going to be able to punt and punt
Agreed.
and punt until it's time to we got to go for it right now? It's been a long time since the Garnett team. He's still hanging on to that Garnett. We put together a big three. That was a generation ago, especially in the NBA. And Fournier, it just goes along with what he always does. He gets another 6'4", 6'5" wing. Okay, how many of those guys do you have? Like, really, you might as well, if you were going to go get Fournier, you might as well just kept Hayward. Hayward's probably better. So yeah, disappointing day by Ainge. And I thought a disappointing day in Philly too, especially since Bradley played. He had like 18 and 10 the other night. We know Embiid's banged up. I guess the justification is if you get into a playoff series, you don't need a third string center. You need a backup point guard more. But what the hell is George Hill doing that we couldn't just get? You know what I mean? We can't just get that. So disappointing day there. I thought Miami was the big winner. And Orlando, holy goodness, talk about rebuilding. They sent everybody out of town. Vujacic gone. Like, really, that started the day. That was at like 10 o'clock this morning. Wild.
So, all right. Where did he go?
Chicago.
Gosh darn. What do you think that does for him fantasy-wise, Brother Ray?
I mean, it's obviously he's going to play, but I mean, that team, it's, there's potential. I think they're a team that will be on the rise. Obviously they gave up a lot for him, so he's going to be one of their feature pieces. They have Levine, who I really hoped was going to go to Philly. I kept holding out hope for that. There was no way after the season he's having that they were going to let him go. But Chicago's starting to, put something together there. And, I think they have the coach that's going to, get them to improve. I think the building blocks are there now. They did give a lot up for him, though.
Wait, but TJ, I'm not sold on the fact that his numbers aren't going to drop. I own him in fantasy. So right now I'm thinking his numbers go down in Chicago.
I feel like he's the kind of guy, though, that's almost like, unless he went to a team that had a totally outrageous system, like a D'Antoni team, for example, where they're going to just disregard him. I feel like he's 20 and 10, 20 and 10, 20 and 10. You can put him on like 27 of these NBA teams, and he's good as long as they play him, which Brother Ray said, he's going to start. He's going to get the same minutes. I feel like his production is not like system dependent.
Yeah, so he's like Drummond. He's like a Drummond, like a plug.
Yeah, he's going to do.
He's going to get his. He'll just get his.
Yeah, and he's going to make shots at the top of the key. His game is not really system dependent unless he went to a system that, if he went to the Lakers, his numbers are going to crash. But really, from his perspective, being in Orlando and Chicago, the only difference is the weather and the damn, the weather.
Wait. All right. So before we continue going on with free agency and trades, I'm sorry. There's 3 games tonight, if I'm correct. 8:30 is the first one. We've still got 7 minutes regular time, and then there's two 10 o'clock games. So let's just throw those out there for anyone listening if they want to play it. We got the Clippers at the Spurs. The Clippers are favored by 2. So in San Antonio, Clippers favored by 2. What do we think about that game? You're just about to go off. TJ.
Yeah, I think I would take the Spurs at home tonight. The Clippers made a move today too, bringing Rondo in, which is going to help him for the playoffs. But it's been a disrupted day. Lou Williams is a big part of the rotation of what they're doing right there. They're going to San Antonio. I think the Clippers are going to finish strong. It depends what Rondo they get, but I feel like they're going to get playoff Rondo for the next couple of months. But tonight the smart money's on the Spurs.
Okay, Brother Ray, you got anything that says differently on that one?
No, I agree with TJ. I think the Spurs tonight, but I do think the Clippers made some moves today. I think that will help them later on.
So they got better, but just today is not the day for them to win a game.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 10 o'clock games. Got the Warriors at the Kings. Kings are favored at home by 3.5. What do we think about that game, Brother Ray?
I'm going to go with Golden State tonight. I think they're going to come out, and I think they're going to get the win. They played awful against the Sixers the other night. But again, I think I'm not that impressed with Sacramento, so I would go with Golden State here.
TJ?
Yeah, same thing. Sacramento's they didn't even do anything today, Sacramento, as far as I know. So they're pretty much waiting for the lottery. Too bad, because that was a team I was really high on coming into the season. It's one of my closet favorite teams. And yeah, no, they just packed it in. Golden State tonight. Golden State's trying to make the playoffs. Sacramento's not. Take the Warriors.
So would we say that the Warriors, the underdogs, went outright?
Yeah.
I think so.
Play the money line on that?
Yeah. All day.
All right. And the same thing, I guess, with the Spurs, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spurs are going to win outright.
All right. So there's two upsets. All right. And then finally, it's the Lakers at Philly, and Philly is favored by 5.5. Now, if Philly's been shaken up enough, which I doubt it, that'd be a great trifecta right there. But I think you guys are going to go with the Sixers. TJ?
Yeah, I am. I mean, it sounds weird to say give 6 points to the Lakers, but this isn't really the Lakers. I mean, there's no LeBron, there's no AD. It's a hodgepodge of like role players without the linchpin. So the Lakers just took it on a chin a couple nights ago against New Orleans. I don't see a way Philly doesn't go in there and win. I've been very impressed. One thing about Philly, and I bash them every week, but they're still the 1 seed. With Embiid out and with Simmons me bitching about Simmons and with no trade deadline, Tobias Harris has played really well. They're the 1 seed. They're playing to win games. There's no way that the Lakers stay close tonight. No way at all.
Brother Ray?
I think right now Doc Rivers has to be one of the candidates for Coach of the Year. I don't think there's any question. I mean, just with Harris's development, I mean, I think he deserves credit for that. It's funny because one of the reasons why Philly went after Harris was because of the season he had under Doc. So yeah, I mean, I love Philly tonight. Again, I think they go in there and they win easily.
All right. So then we're saying that the trifecta to go with would be Philly -6. And then you like the other two outright, the Spurs and the Warriors.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs, Warriors, Philly by 6. All right. I'm going to get that parlay in right now. You guys talk amongst yourselves about some more free agency while I put that bet in for us.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think Coach had some great points about Bradley with the Sixers. I mean, he has played so well, and he's been such like a positive force on that bench, and the players loved him. So you look at moves like that, and it's like, well,
and he's so young,
right?
Like he's 23 years old. It's not like he had Amir Johnson's like minutes and roll, barely play a little here and then fill in. But he was like 23 years old. So to me, I'd rather keep Dwight Howard's not going to play. He won't be back next year. Dwight Howard's here for what he's here for. And we know it and he knows it. And I respect that. Why couldn't we keep Bradley around? Instead, you're going to go bring in George Hill for 3 months, who's going to do the exact same thing George Hill always does, which is fine. I'm not knocking George Hill. He's a pro. But to me, you got a young big that's showing signs of life. That's like the last thing in the NBA you trade. It really is.
No, I agree. I mean, you have a player in Maxey who you obviously thought high enough that you didn't want to make any trade for for Lowry who can play both guard spots. He can guard both positions, which is why you went after Hill apparently. But so why trade the young player Bradley?
Right. And especially when you see the kid Wanamaker that was in Boston last year. He got moved today for a 2nd-round pick. If you really need a backup veteran point guard that bad, then go get a kid like him. He's played a lot of minutes. He's not going to kill you in 8 minutes in a game. And leave the big kid alone. That's the kind of shit that blows my mind. It really does. And yeah, okay, Bradley's on his 3rd team. He's a baby. He's 23 years old and he's 7 feet tall. He's coming
I
up
don't understand it at all.
his career.
It makes any sense at all.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I got out of that was I agree that there's some boring basketball players and they can't help it. Like there's certain basketball players that they're just boring. Like Robert Parrish, boring. Just a boring person to watch play basketball if you really think about it. Right? Like wait, give me one. Dwight Howard to me was always boring. David Robinson, boring. Karl Malone, boring.
You know who was boring and good? Like Andre Miller.
Yeah. Tim Duncan,
Tim
boring.
Duncan, super boring.
Like good, but boring, right? It's just like, and it's not their fault. It's just that's just how they play basketball.
And as a rule, I don't mind boring guys, especially point guards who are going to get the job done. Like, I don't really need all the dancing, man. Can you get the shit across half court and get it to Embiid is what I'm looking for. The problem is what you got to give up to get him. If you're going to give up a young big and some picks, I'd rather give up the first round pick and go get Lowry because there's not borings, right? So now the whole team is better. But you just bring in this George Hill. We've all seen what he's done. He's on the back end,
Coming off an injury, too. That's what's killing me. He's coming off an injury. Bradley's been playing and playing well.
Bizarro. And then when you read the guy's name, like, we couldn't do something to get Rondo if we're going to get a point guard. We can't get Lou Will. We got to go get George Hill. And I know there's a lot of numbers involved in all that shit, but still, very disappointing. The Celtics, they didn't do anything. They had a trade exception. They didn't even use it.
I didn't know what was going on with him at all. I didn't hear a single, like, no one said anything. Nothing.
Danny's like, he's like, you ever watch Hoarders?
Yeah.
Where the lady's like, yeah, my house is full of shit and I got to clean it. And then they're like, okay, you got a half-used water bottle. And the lady's like, I need that half-used water bottle. That's Danny with a second-round draft pick.
In case I'm thirsty.
27. Like, no, I'm not trading that. I don't care if I can get young Kareem. I'm not trading Jason Tatum and this water bottle for Kareem. That's what he does. Although, I think they're going to blow it up after the season. I got a feeling that those two, Brown and Tatum, are about to get separated.
And they give up these. I mean, really, like, I don't see how they got better. I mean, they gave up one of the few players on their front court that gets minutes and plays. Like, why?
And knows the system. I mean, I'm not in the Mo Wagner fan club, but Tice, I mean, I think Tice is a bum, but he does his job. Like, he knows his role. He fits in with the guys. He plays hard. Tice plays super hard. And interesting.
I went into the Speedway that is local to me, and Jason Tatum is on all the chips that are at the counter now, right? And I here's the funniest thing that, like, I thought about it and I started to laugh to myself, and the guy must have thought I was either laughing at him or just crazy. Either way, but it struck me funny that all the chips were just plain, like Jason Tatum wasn't like promoting the new Jason Tatum like fiery chip. He was just on the bag of the plain chips. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That struck me as like Shaq would have, like, the Shaq like bacon cheese something flavor like chip. Like, that's what Shaq would have had back in the day. And there's just Jason Tatum on plain old chips, and I'm like, yeah. That sums it up so much that I don't know what to tell the guy at the counter. But
that's pretty much Boston right now. They're a tough watch. Like, I'm sure the locals around here watch them because that's what's on. But you get out of market, Boston is a tough team to watch. They're freaking boring.
Yeah.
And I think something big's going to happen there. I mean, Danny keeps punting it down the line. Maybe Brad leaves. I really don't know. But in a day today where 1, 4, 8, 10 teams, which is 20 players, and like 18 of them are household names, got traded today. The Celtics walked away with Mo Wagner. They walked away with Mo Wagner and Evan Fournier. Yeah, so
you gotta not want to move to do that.
They may not make the playoffs, guys. They may not make the playoffs.
They might not. And boy, would that be great. Although it's 10 teams in the playoffs, so they probably will. But boy, then it's not pretty. And I kind of like it.
And do you know how long ago that big three with Garnett really, really, really was? Like, if you think about it, like, my life was so completely different back then. It was like 2 generations ago. I can't believe how long ago. Was that?
I met my wife when they won it. Since then, we've been in 2 houses, had 2 kids, built a business. Like, that's how long ago it was. And they're still holding on to that freaking trade. Like he's got a lifetime pass.
I was in a rapcore. That's what they called it. New metal band. And Dave came up to me and told me, we were in a Worcester club. We were playing at 1 o'clock at night. He came up and told me, oh, they just got Garnett from the Timberwolves or whatever. And I was like, Wow. And that's how long ago it was. That's how literally long ago it was. I don't think I had kids. I know I didn't have dogs. I had no responsibilities. Like, Danny Ainge, like, where have you been? Like, what have you been doing all this time? I know I've been doing a lot.
He's doing the same thing. He's still answering every WEEI question. He's still answering it the same way he did then. Like, dude, who else can hit pause for like a lifetime and not?
I've done a lot. Yeah, there's been a lot going on. Like in the world, a lot of shit's going on, Danny. Like, you know what I mean? Someone needs to nudge him.
Oh man.
Why are we putting up with it then? As Boston, not that I'm a Boston fan, but why are they putting up with it then? Seems like he's got no rhyme or reason, no plan. He keeps saying it's going to happen. He's waiting for that wave like a surfer that's never going to come. So what's the deal?
Thinks he's David Copperfield. You know, he makes two really lopsided trades, and all of a sudden, we talked about this before, he's crowned a genius. So the genius has something up his sleeve. Trust in him. He won us that one title 20-something years ago. Yeah, let's wait. He's gonna fleece some other GM, and you know we're gonna end up with LeBron and who. I mean, that's the way these Celtic fans think apparently, because he gets too much room. He gets too much rope.
I got to tell you, the Patriots, the Patriots dynasty ruined sports fans in New England, as far as I'm concerned. This used to be a tough sports town. Like, go through managers, like go through coaches. Like, you had to be tough to play in Boston. They're soft. They're freaking soft. New England fans got soft, and it's because they got used to winning with that little flying Elvis and that little supermodel quarterback with his hot wife. The Red Sox come in last like every other year. And it's like, yeah, you know, we're just rebuilding. Hey. The Celtics, the Green Teamers, are the only fan base that can look at themselves in the mirror when the Celtics draft a player and convince themselves that the guy's good, whether he is or not. These are the people that thought you could not trade Avery freaking Bradley. Avery Bradley was untouchable because he was in Boston. Avery Bradley got traded today for like thrown into the freaking Oladipo deal. Like, but that's how these fans approach it. Whenever they have a guy, the guy's good. It doesn't matter how shitty the guy is. And whenever they, hey, you know, it's tough. Yeah, NBA's tough, man. We don't have LeBron, man. I blame Tom Brady.
TJ, there's one basic truth in life, and that's that if you're not in the New England area, you really have no idea how insufferable these fans locally are. Now, I'm not trying to anger and alienate everybody against me that's local, but these Patriot fans, these Red Sox fans, the ones that have the every Sunday is like a party where all like the couples come over, no matter how old they are. They're all in their Patriots gear, except for the women have the pink hats, all that other goofy stuff, right? They just want to sing Neil Diamond for the Red Sox. They don't care who's winning or losing. They don't even know who's there. They just love Tom Brady. They're there for the party. The whole place is soft. It's horrible. And we get to watch them be squirrely enough to where they were rooting for the Buccaneers as if that's their fucking team. And it's not.
No, they're not. No, it's crazy time over here. And I used to like it better. So I'm a Yankee fan, right? So pretty much doing a fantasy draft last night. I'm picking up, like, I can go through the Yankees lineup and be like, I don't like that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, or that guy. You will never hear a Red Sox fan do that. You will never, ever hear it. Just like with the Sixers, me and Brother Ray come on here. Now, we're both Sixer fans. We're rooting for him to win. I will tell you 57 things I don't like about Ben Simmons before I get to the part where Ben Simmons is an all-star. Celtic fan, tell them Daniel Tice sucked yesterday. And then, you don't understand. You don't understand. He's part of the cog. He's bouncy. He does that. That's a Celtic fan. And you know what?
You got it right there.
All that
we don't understand. That's definitely we don't understand. That's my God, you just nailed it. You don't understand. They say that all the time.
You don't understand how good Brad is. No, I understand. He's a 4 seed every freaking year. That's how good he is. You don't. Brad Stevens, I bet you if you saw his win percentage, you would laugh your face off because it's nowhere near as good as his reputation. But in this town with the Green Teamers, and maybe that's why Danny doesn't make trades, because he feels like everybody's so good, because that's all he hears is how good his guys are, that if he lets one go, the media is going to crash down on him.
He doesn't want to get. He's afraid against
the same problem as the Patriots. Red Auerbach, right? they have the same problem. You know, when you're good for that many years and you have that history and you have all those banners in the rafters, you're just thinking it's inevitable. Oh, well, they're going to turn around. They're going to do it this year. We'll have another banner up there.
Do you realize that there are Celtic fans right now that would be up in arms if Jaylen Brown got traded, no matter who in the NBA he got traded for, no matter who, whether it was Zion or John Morant or freaking Jamal Murray, name a guy, any guy, and if they traded Jaylen Brown for him today, Celtics fans would be in like disaster mode, because even though this guy has done nothing but bring you to the 8th seed and he can't fucking pass or dribble, they treat their guys like they're like king of the hill. And I'm telling you, Brady started it, because when I was little, they were the meanest fans in the world. Like, they'll boo you at Fenway. You could throw a 6-hit shutout and they'll boo you when you get taken out of the game. Like, they were that kind of fans. And now it's like, nah, our guys are good, man. Carl Everett, man, he's better than Bernie Williams. Like, that's what we've turned into around here. It's a shame.
I think they let in the non-sports fans. I think that's what they did wrong around here. Almost like zombies. They let them in. They bit into people, the sports fans, and they took the seats. And the next thing you know, they're everywhere.
I mean, who's there? It's all corporate giveaways. Giveaways. There's no real fans sitting in the box seats. It's all corporate giveaways.
I'll tell you, when you go back to those Yankee Red Sox games in like the 90s, if you just look in the crowd at Yankee Stadium, those were like union laborers in the crowd. Those were like some grown-ass men with 5-day beards with a freaking Yankee cap on. Now, if you look into a crowd at even the stadium, but Fenway especially, it's like guys in polo shirts with their freaking wife with the matching purse, and the kid's got the freaking, he's got like the fake jersey. It's not what it used to be in this town, especially. Maybe it's ticket prices. I don't know. And everybody should go to the games, but my goodness gracious, the heart of Boston fans is like gone. And that's why you can get by with getting Evan Fournier today. And then I go on TV tonight and Brian Scalabrini's like defending the day. Like, you're defending the day, dude. Well, maybe not to the casual fan, but for Perk and I, we understand the value. Like, kiss my ass, buddy.
How did he pull it off, Scalabrini?
Huh?
How did he continue a career? Like, how did he do that? He's got no personality to speak of. He's a big red dork. Like, how did he get a career?
Sometimes I like his basketball analysis. I mean, the guy played in the NBA. He was a good player in college. I like his basketball analysis. But tonight, when him and Perk are on there tonight, after this disaster of a day for the Celtics, just a disaster, and their comments are, maybe we'll get a guy off the buyout market that only will understand how good he is, not the casual fan. Like, are you serious, dude?
Like, yeah.
Like just because you're sitting in that studio, you don't think the casual fans know that you got Mo Wagner and Evan Fournier today? Like, do you think you're fooling us with that shit? And you're not. And
if you wouldn't start those two guys in your fantasy team, how can you think those are good additions? Like, come on.
Right.
It's just Scalabrini. The minute I see him start talking, I think about when he played, and it's just like, there's another boring player.
Especially when Pat Riley's eating your lunch again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Pat Riley's been eating your lunch since the 80s, if you're a Celtic fan. Since the 80s. Everywhere Pat Riley goes, he finds Boston and kicks him right in the face every single time. And what he did today in Miami, outstanding. Really is outstanding. I wish he was with us. But for the Celtics to defend Evan Fournier when Pat Riley is like, yeah, watch what I can do. Like, that's just so impressive.
So what are we looking at for the Final Four of basketball in the NBA? Who's going to be in the East in the last two? Who do you think will be the last two of the West?
I mean, a lot's going to depend on seedings. In the West, I mean, it's hard to go against Utah. It still is. It's still hard to go against Utah. I think the Clippers did good today. I don't know. If I had to put money on it right now, I'd take the Lakers and Jazz.
And then on the East, right?
Yeah, in the East, I don't know. I mean, the Sixers are there, but again, how long is that going to last? You got to think at some point Brooklyn's going to be there. The team, I mean, the Heat just really got a lot better. I love the way Milwaukee's been playing. I mean, 8 straight, they've been on a roll. I mean, I would love the Sixers to be there, but I think looking at what the Heat did today, I'm going to say Brooklyn and Miami.
TJ, what do you think of that?
Well, I'll tell you this. There's pretty much no way by math Miami can do anything but be the 4 seed. So they can be 4 or lower. That almost makes the 1 seed not as attractive as it was this morning. Because would I rather play Milwaukee or would I rather play Miami? That's a tough call. That's a tough call.
Yeah.
I think when Embiid comes back, no one can guard him. I mean, I just can't get my head around not taking Philly. This is like the best shot we've had. But Brooklyn sat back today, did nothing. They don't have to. They really can't. I mean, they don't have an asset to trade. So to me, if I go to there, Philly and Brooklyn right now.
You think Philly can do it? You think Philly can get to the championship?
Can they? Yeah, I know they can. I don't know if they will.
That's where I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they can, but I don't. Until I see it.
I think there's like eight teams right now that can go to the finals and win the finals. I think it's especially with the Lakers being banged up. My thing is that no one's guarding Embiid in a playoff series. So if he comes back and he's healthy, there really is nobody guarding him. Bam's a nice player and all, but he's not guarding Embiid in the 7-game series. So to me, that's my hope. I think Milwaukee, as well as they're playing, they're like a piece away. Like, to me, they're a team that could have been a little more aggressive today. Although I think they made a move and I didn't catch it. But
yeah, they are.
Milwaukee's a team that
they did sign somebody.
They did.
Let me ask you this. This is a question. Other than Dirk Nowitzki, I can't think of another player that completely, like, to me, won a championship like 1 year. Like, to me, that 1 year, he won that championship. Like, he just could not be stopped. I felt like everything he was going to shoot was going to go in, and somehow it was just written in the cards. Other than, like, a Jordan, who I guess did it. That's what he did. Can you remember another time on, like, one person? I guess Kawhi. Would Kawhi be the last one that, like, took over a series all by himself?
Yeah, Kawhi. I mean, it used to happen a lot before. In the early days in the NBA, that would happen. Like, Bill Walton pretty much took a Portland team there by himself. And Dennis Johnson took a Seattle team there. Wes Unseld has one all by himself. So there are outliers. We've just been in an era right now where it's pretty much LeBron and Steph for a long time. And then we have kind of teams winning in chunks. So this year here, it seems up for grabs to me. By the way, I saw something today, Brother Ray, you like this. Someone says if Durant wins it this year, that puts him top 5 of all time, to which you say.
Absolutely freaking not. Like, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
It is.
That's absolutely crazy. That's like.
Well, why would he be in the top 5? What is the basis of that right there?
Multiple rings with multiple teams. He's got a lot of points. I don't know. I just scrolled past it like, no, you must be 16 years old is what went through my mind as I went past this nonsense. But, I think Durant's trying to make a legacy for himself. Like, he is. I think Brooklyn's tough.
It's weird when kids, like the younger generation kids, they tout like these players, these new age players, and they talk about how different they are. It's always seemed to me like the people of our era aren't that far off from the players of today. Whereas if we went back 20, 30 years, it's like shooting in a peach basket. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like from us forward, it's not been that dramatic of a change. But us going back the same amount of time, era-wise, completely different.
I know what you mean. Yeah, so you're saying like from the 80s to the 60s is a totally different world.
Oh, it's incredibly different. Compared to the 80s to
2010, it's really not that much.
Yeah.
Well, it's a young league. It's a young league. I guess the biggest difference in the last 20 years is international players. But before it was pretty much. That's why I discount all that Russell Championship stuff. I mean, there were 8 teams, and they would draft players by who lived closest to the city, so you could get some. They were a barnstorming league that turned into pros. But these kids, from the 90s to now, the game's not really that much different. Outside of that, we're just jacking up more threes now. But the size, skill, and speed of the players hasn't really changed in that much time. Whereas between the 60s and the 80s, it's like 2 different species of human playing basketball.
Yeah,
exactly. Guys, I mean, I'm an NBA talent in 1958. Like, I'm checking Bob Cousy. I'm not checking Chris Paul like in my prime. That's just not how it is. But yeah, so kids now, I think they say, well, it's so far back, but really speed wise, Steve Francis is as fast as anybody who's in the league right now from 2001.
Yeah, it's just how I've always felt about it. Like they always talk about like Durant. Oh yeah. It's just like I've seen people like Durant before, and it's not like he's freakish athlete, the true, but I'm saying like I can compare him to some people, whereas like you can't go take like Magic Johnson and go back to the 50s and 60s and be like compare him because you just can't. It's just like, well, they weren't allowed technically. It was different.
You ever see the NBA's 50th anniversary team when they trotted George Mikan out there, who was like the greatest big in the history of basketball from Minneapolis, and you see him, he's standing next to like, I don't know, Charles Barkley, and Barkley's looking down on him like I look at my kid. And it's like, oh, he's a post player. He's like 5'11", but he's taking sky hooks. So, yeah, that's a big difference, man. We saw guys like Durant. I mean, Durant's special, don't get me wrong. But, to say there was no one like him, nah, I don't see that.
And the thing is,
his fight makes him special because the players you compare him to, the older players were shorter than him. But that same style, yeah, you could name him.
Hall of Famer. He's Alex English if he was 7 feet tall and better off the dribble.
So smooth, Alex English.
He was. And Durant is too. Durant looks like he was born to score a basketball. Like he plays, if you took like a high school kid and put him in a peewee league on 6-foot rims, they would play like Durant. Yeah. That's how talented he is. But I don't want to hear the greatest of all time stuff when you're ring shopping. You're bouncing
Exactly.
Like, do that.
Plus, if you go back to the 60s, they talk about like when they talk about teams, they talk about the guys that weren't on coke. Well, they'd be like him and just him were not on amphetamines or coke like really. Oddly enough, it seems like PEDs were big back then, like really big. And from what I heard, it was like affecting the league. Like
that was the 70s. The 70s were a treat. Yeah.
Is that true that it was that bad? Was it really that bad? The sport was like really,
especially the ABA. The ABA was a zoo, an absolute circus. You had Marvin Bonds, who was in the ABA at the time. He tells that story where he woke up one day and decided he was going to quit basketball and become a professional pool player. And the team's getting ready to have a game. They're like, "Where's Marvin? Marvin's gone. He's on tour playing pool tournaments." Like,
what's crazy? You could almost divide the league, and I never thought of this until Brother Ray just said that. From when it was a full-time job to before it was a full-time job, because you go back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they weren't making enough money to live on, and that's a different kind of like how great can Bob Cousy be if he's got to work 6 months of the year somewhere else?
But they're spending it on coke. Yeah. But they're spending what
they started getting some money. Those guys, they were partying in the 70s.
How do you play basketball with coke? Like I don't even like. Imagine your heart gets going flying from cocaine, and then you go play basketball. Like, what are the timeouts like? Like what are these guys? It's like no one making sense.
Do you spend the whole half waiting for halftime so you can get back in the locker room?
Yeah, that's all you're doing.
That's it. I'm just waiting for the half to run out. It's cool though if you ever see like the Super Bowl II. Super Bowl II was when the Packers played the Chiefs, and you see the picture of Lynn Dawson like sitting at halftime with a cigarette in one hand and a beer next to him at halftime of the Super Bowl. And it's like that's how far sports has changed, because now, these guys are like running on treadmills with like hooked up like Drago in the pregame. It's wild.
Yeah, I just think everything's changed so much, so dramatically in like that sense, but then yet it hasn't. Like in other words, so much has changed in sports over the last like 20 years, but then it hasn't as compared to what it did. Like again,
I think the athletes are pretty much maxed out of what we're gonna get.
Hopefully,
I think in all sports. Like I don't think in football, how much faster can you get than a 4.2 40?
Like you're popping muscles already, yeah.
You look at a guy like Saquon Barkley. That's like the human body is only capable of getting to some level, and I think we're there. Training is there, and all that. So now the biggest variations are style of play, which is ironic because the better our bodies get, the softer our sports are, right? So now in the NBA, they only want to shoot threes. In the NFL, they only want to throw passes. And you would think with the bodies they have, they'd all want to hit more, and they don't. Pretty strange.
Yeah. That's a fact. And the thing is, I guess not to get on this rant before we start to move over towards maybe some picks, but and I'm, by the way, missing Genius Kev. He's taking care of some family business. I hope everything's going really well with him. miss having him not, because there's no spreads in front of me.
Wait,
I'd have the
Genius
spread.
Did Genius Kev go to Columbia?
Yeah.
Like in the Ivy League, like Columbia?
Yeah.
And he's like hanging out with us on Thursdays? Like
I went to high school with Kev.
at the high school.
Yeah.
So he went from our high school to Columbia.
Oh yeah. See, let me put it this way.
And now he's hanging out with us, and this is blowing my mind. Like,
wait, but you got to put this in perspective. So,
yep.
me and Kev, like I was the kind of guy that would dragged Kev on stage to do a talent show act. Like I made him do stuff that was out of his comfort zone. But what Kev possessed was, so there's like this, like I met him in 7-1. Now, remember how junior high used to literally
I was in 7-1.
All right, so junior high literally used to rank the smart kids to the dumb kids right in their face. 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, 7-4, 7-5, and 7-6. Forget about it.
Yep.
Right? So I go first day of junior high. I'm in 7-1. I'm the only kid from my elementary school to even be in 7-1, so I don't know anybody there. And I meet Genius Kev. Now, what ends up, the thing is the thing with Kev. Kev is the only person that, not only was he really, like, smart, but he was like, I used to call him Gordon Gekko. Cutthroat. Like he was willing to do whatever it is he had to do, put in whatever crazy hours, flying to Britain like he does, all this shit to get what he needed to get accomplished. So he had both elements. You know, like that usually like someone really that smart is kind of like flighty or whatnot. That's not Kev. Kev's super organized and smart. That's why I'm like, let's call you Genius Kev. Because he does possess those tools. I mean, I always think I'm smarter than he is, but he thinks he's smarter than me, which might be true.
He slid that in. I was rewatching the show. Why was I rewatching? I always rewatch the show just to see what the heck we're talking about, to see if we make any sense, right? And he slid in that he went to Columbia, and I'm like, wait a minute. The Ivy League guys got time for us. This is outstanding.
Yeah, you just can't. You can never let him think though. Like you gotta like. I always nudge him, and I always let him like. I always compete with him. He likes that. You can't like.
Matt, out of Columbia. It's kind of like a fake Ivy school anyway.
Like exactly. So Master Thomas always gets mad on the other show whenever we introduce him as Genius Kev because he's like, why am I not a genius? Like you know, like so. And then on last Legit Paranormal, we had on such a great guest. The guy's name was Mike Markowitz, and I hope I said that correctly. He looks exactly like Luke Skywalker hiding out because he doesn't want to become a Jedi anymore. He's got the beard and the blonde hair and the blue eyes. If you go back and look at him, you'll think I'm talking to Luke, to Mark, whatever his name is, Luke Skywalker. Yep. But sometimes I ramble. I don't even know where I'm going right now. The legit. What was my story about the Legit Paranormal show?
We're talking about Kev. Talking about Kev. Genius.
Yeah, what did we do? God damn it. I forgot what I was going to say, but I do this. You know what? The older I get, the worse it's getting. And I get scared when I do this because I think this is what happens when people get dementia. They can't keep track of stuff. And when I get hyper sometimes, like I'll get going and then I won't remember what I'm talking about. And this is something that's going to. So anyways, Legit Paranormal, Genius Kev. I have no freaking clue.
That's
I'll tell you when I remember it. What's that?
It'll come to you.
Oh, there it is. When we introduced Mike Markowitz, Kev said, "Hey, Mike, pleasure to talk to you." And the guy went, "It's good talking to you, genius." It's the way people take that name. Like
that's great.
That's like the point of King Michael. Like I want to see people's reaction to it because if they have a reaction to it already, then I don't want to know them in the first place because they're taking everything too serious. But like that guy handled it well. He's like, "Nice to meet you, genius." But anyways, I hope he's doing all right. I don't have info of the spreads. All right, let's go over. Can we do Friday night games? We can do the Friday night games, right? All right.
Oh.
Does anybody have? What's that? Does anybody have the spreads in front of them? Because this is something I didn't have pull up, but I should have won one of these. But I got the games, I think, but I don't have the spreads. By the way, that I put in that parlay of those three teams for tonight: the Spurs, Warriors, and Philly -6. It was $5. Wins you 48.
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Those are good odds.
Oh, wow.
You put in decent money. That's good money.
All right, yeah, I have the spreads right now.
That's the spreads too, yeah.
All right. So, Ray, you want to call out the game with the spread, and then we'll let TJ
Yeah,
start. And then I'll take
we'll start with the Nuggets Pelicans. Pelicans are +2.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, Denver made a move today. See, the question I have about tomorrow night spreads, I wish I would know this answer going in, is who traveled where and who was where and who's going to be where. So that's really difficult. I mean, I'm inclined to take Denver because I feel like Denver's the better club, but I don't know how much transition is happening with a team that made a move today. So without knowing anything, I'll say Denver. If you find out that they're going to play with an 8-man roster while they figure the shit out, then New Orleans is the play.
Ray, I'm going to really quickly say you got to go with the Nuggets on this one. They'll only be -2. I think even with all the craziness going on, they're just still a much better team than the Pelicans, right?
I agree. I think they have the momentum right now, especially after making, the move that they made today. And I mean, Jokic is, he's a triple-double every single night now. It's ridiculous. He's your potential MVP right there.
Maybe.
Guys, I let me interject for a second. I just recently got a dog, second dog. I like having 2 dogs. I had two dogs, but my old English bulldog died after 13 years, a couple months back, almost a year back, a couple months back. So I have my 3-year-old pit bull, Faithy baby bear. But so we just got Kobe Bo Bear. He's lab mastiff pit bull. Just really quick, the text I just got from my wife within the last 10 minutes. Dog shit on new rug, cleaned with Mike's help and cleaned with rug machine. Next text. Dog pissed on floor. Mike cleaned with toilet paper. Dog shit in bedroom. I stepped in it. Cleaned again with rug machine. 8:37. Dog peed in bedroom. Clean with rug machine. 8:50. Dog shit has clogged the toilet. I can't. You will need to plunge.
I think you're sleeping on 3rd floor tonight there.
You know what? I wish I could play the glamorous life right now and just start doing my Diddy dance because, man, my life is like I am a pimp, right?
Until about 11 minutes from now when you have to go downstairs and unclog a toilet, face your wife who's been I mean, yeah, you're in trouble.
Oh, she's going to whoop my ass.
Yeah, you're in big trouble.
All right. I'm sorry, Ray. Continue with the games.
Wow, I don't know how to follow that. I mean,
yeah, no. I almost feel bad to keep you. Otherwise, we're going to stay on till like 11 when she goes to bed because it's not going to be a safe trek. That's
hey, thanks for keeping tuned in. I know it's around 1 a.m. here, the fantasy basketball, but the wife's still up. And
you're going to kill me.
Go ahead, Brother Ray. Go ahead with the next
All
one.
right. Then we have the Pacers, Mavs, another 8:40 game. Mavericks are favored by 4.5.
They are. Yeah, that's an interesting game. That's just a tough game. That's almost like one you stay away from. I can't say that either one of those teams are teams that I watch very, very much.
Mavs should win at home, right?
Mavs at home, yeah.
Mavs are at home. I'm inclined to pick them at home. I really am. But the Pacers, to me, is a team I haven't been able to figure out all season. I've been kind of dodging them whenever I can, fantasy-wise and gambling-wise. So, to me, the money's on the Mavs if someone's making you bet. If not, stay away.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I would go with the Mavs here, given the points. But these two teams are very, very evenly matched. It could go either way. It has. So,
did either of those teams change up very much from the trade deadline?
I mean, Dallas got JJ Redick.
That's all right. That's a piece. Sometimes.
I mean, Dallas quietly has moved up comfortably into the 7th spot right now.
Yep.
And Redick's a nice piece. Like, he's a good player. I like JJ Redick on Philly. I like him everywhere he is. He makes shots. He works hard. I think his defense isn't great, but It's underrated because he tries. He's actively playing defense. He's going to help them. I don't know if they can beat a team. That West is so loaded up top, but yeah, that's what happened with Dallas today.
All right, Raymond, next game.
All right. Then we have the Suns and the Raptors. Suns are favored by 4.5.
Yeah, I'm taking Phoenix. Too much going on in Toronto right now. Powell left today. Lowry's sitting there by himself. They really want Siakam's having a bad year. I feel like it's a punt time for the Raptors right now. They're not even playing in Toronto. So give me Phoenix.
And Phoenix is a rough team to be going up against, having that many problems too. They're the type of team that'll lump them up. Like, they won't be afraid to lump them up. You know what I mean? Like, I like the Suns by more than 4.5 easy on this one. Like, they're a 7-8 point win.
I feel like there's almost something wrong with that line. It seems so obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe because they kept Lowry. Maybe they were anticipating.
Maybe, but Phoenix has got the second best record in the West, and you're playing
Exactly.
against team in the East.
I love the Suns right now. I mean, I'm all over the Suns on this one as well. Then you have the Celtics at Milwaukee. Celtics are getting 5.5.
Good enough.
I mean, we spent a lot of time on Boston today. I wonder what that locker room feels like. I don't know if that's a place where they feel relieved that they're all still there, or a place that's disappointed that they didn't get any help. Milwaukee, I feel like is a much better team. I'm taking the Bucks. I'm laying the points. If you can tease that down to 1.5, forget it. Throw it in any tease you may be doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you can tease that down and get that to be really close, then you don't have to worry about whether it's 4, 5, 6, or 7. You know what I mean? You know what's going to happen. But yeah, that'll make sense.
Yeah, I'm all over Milwaukee. Especially if Giannis plays. I know he's been dealing with some stuff this week. They're just too good right now, and he just destroys the Celtics when he plays them.
Do you realize Milwaukee's averaging the most points per game in the NBA?
Wow.
And you feel like it's a one-man show because
wow.
They're averaging 120 points a game, and that's pretty unbelievable. The Celtics, and without Tice, the Celtics are going to have like nobody down there. So yeah, that's Milwaukee all day.
All right, then we have the Grizzlies at Utah. Utah -10.
I'm going to take the points. I am. I'm going to take the points. I feel like Memphis is not playing bad right now.
They're not.
They're really not. And I caught them a couple of times. I know Utah's got the best record in the league. But to me, there's a couple of big spreads tomorrow night. If I'm going to take an underdog in one, it's going to be tomorrow with Memphis.
I'll tell you what, though. That spread right there makes me think Utah's going to win by a bunch, like a real bunch, because that's a really big spread. Like 10 such a pronounced number. You know what I mean? Like
Utah's average margin of victory is 8.8 right now. So for them to win by 10 is kind of like no big deal. That's just how they win. I'm coming at it from thinking Memphis is going to give them a game, and if it's a game, then those 10 points are going to help.
I don't know. I wouldn't touch that game. I'm afraid Utah wins by like 18. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like 10. What's 10 to them? So that's why I don't think I could touch that, because you gotta hope that they don't do that, which they could do. So that's a tough one to call, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I have to make a pick, I would probably go with Utah, but I wouldn't be confident making the bet. You're laying 10 points is like the worst feeling in the world, especially at the end of a game. You're up 12 and it comes down and throws up a 3. And
just the free throws.
Yeah,
free throws. 58 seconds. The greatest thing is when your wife or girlfriend first learns how that like sports time is different than real time, because they'll say to you, "How much time's left in the quarter?" You're like, 3 minutes. They're like, "Oh, okay, 3 minutes." Little do they know, they come back 10 minutes later. How much time's left in the game? About 1:30.
Commercial break. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love that moment. That was another call doing.
My son's been learning during March Madness that 45 seconds on the clock means you have time to go to the bathroom, son. You won't miss anything.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Go ahead,
All
Ray.
right, we have the Rockets at the Timberwolves. Timberwolves favored by 3.5.
Wow.
Oof, boy. Anyone's going to watch that, huh?
Wow.
Two bad teams.
Are they depleted, both teams? Like just stripped?
That's like they're fighting for lottery picks. I don't think either one of them wants to win. Like, winning is not good for Minnesota right now.
Oh,
And,
are they better?
I give Minnesota a lot of credit. They didn't make a trade today. Like they're gonna try and do something with this core. It's a 10-win core. I don't get it. Yeah, I'm not.
What does
I'm
the
not.
Edwards end up doing? What is his role moving forward? I still can't figure out that kid. I like him. I like his dunks, but what would his role be?
Oh, he's popping though now. He's been popping lately. I'll tell you.
What's his role though? Like, you know what I'm trying to say to you? Like, tell me, like, what at the most, who does he become? At the most, what does he do if you're rolling with him in the future? With his skill set, like, what at the most, what does he do?
His ceiling. I mean, you're asking me to put the ceiling on a kid.
Just guess by his skill set.
I mean, I don't know.
Who do you remind you of?
Jason Richardson.
All right.
It's a pretty good comp. Yeah, Richardson's a good comp.
All right.
He jumped through the ceiling.
Jumped through the ceiling. Got a nice body. Jason Richardson was a good player. I think he's going to be a good player. Jason Richardson's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So there's my
He's
comp.
boring. There's another guy for the all boring team, right?
Jason Richardson?
Yeah.
And
Is
so
that what I'm thinking
on
of?
your head.
Wait, no, that's not who I'm thinking of. No. I'm sorry. It's who was the one that played for the Spurs and then the Nets? Jefferson, Richard Jefferson.
Richard Jefferson.
That's
He's boring. Yeah.
That's boring. God,
He's like 5 finals, and it's like, and he played for Cleveland with LeBron.
Wait a
But
minute.
his face is boring.
But how could it be boring if he dated a Kardashian, right? Didn't he date a Kardashian,
Oh, I don't know.
Jefferson?
But they're boring too. I mean, the whole thing's boring. He's a boring player. Like, all jokes aside, he really is a boring.
Kim wasn't boring when she was introduced to the world, but since then it's boredom. First time.
How many more games, right?
All right, we got 2 more games. We got Trailblazers at Orlando. Trailblazers favored by 11.5.
I was supposed to love the Blazers. Then you said that many points.
I'll give 18. Mike, I'll give you 11.5. I'll give you $11.5 right now if you can name the 5 starters for Orlando tomorrow, because I don't even think the general manager knows who's starting for them tomorrow.
Markelle Fultz.
He's hurt.
Oh, yes.
All right, but does that mean they run it up? You think the Blazers will run it up that high?
No, I think it'll just be that easy. Like, I think they'll be up 25 at halftime, and they'll just keep it around 20 for the night. Like, there's really nothing in Orlando right now. I'm going to pull up their roster and just see if I know anyone.
So that line has to drop tomorrow. Has to change, right?
It'll be 17 by tomorrow, I would guess.
Jump in now. Jump in.
Yeah, no, seriously. If you can lock it in now, yeah. It's only going to go
right now. They got Cole and Anthony. I mean, they'll probably start Wendell Carter, who they just got, if he's there. So that's the other thing. If you trade, you can't play the guy you traded. And then if the other guys haven't come in yet, you can't play them. So you might have a roster with 6 guys. I mean, they might be throwing like.
Wait, this might be my chance. I better start stretching out the hammies.
I'll tell you what.
Drive down there?
If you're in a daily fantasy league, and you find out the Chicago guys didn't make it to Orlando, go pick up Terrence Ross for tomorrow, because one thing about Terrence Ross, he will take 35 shots.
He will, yeah. He wouldn't think twice. He wouldn't
like
think
tomorrow,
twice.
Terrence Ross might go for 50 tomorrow, and they'll still lose by 20.
You're right.
Yeah. You don't get that analysis on ESPN. You get that right here.
All right, our last game, we got the Hawks at Golden State. Hawks are favored by 5.5.
Now, Golden State's playing tonight. So
at home and tomorrow at home, right?
Yeah, right. And they're at home again tomorrow against Atlanta. I like Atlanta I'm getting points if I'm Atlanta.
Now you're giving 5.5.
Oh, I don't want to give that many.
I like Golden State in that.
Yeah, I like Golden State to take the points, yeah.
If it drops on the 4 and it's like 3.5, I might switch my pick.
Mm-hmm.
I like him at home too. I like Golden State at home as well.
All right. Does that wrap it up, Ray?
That's Friday night.
All right. Well, we're right at the hour mark. I wanted to bring up one thing about the baseball show, TJ, that we decided I wanted to clue you in on. What we're going to do is, because like myself and Kev, we don't know Gats on Gab about baseball this year. So we want to get into it in the best way that we know possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to draft our own legit fantasy sports baseball team. We're going to do it live on the baseball show. And it's going to help us get into like the players, learning the games, and each week we'll report on our team, see how it's doing. We got to pick a site for wherever we want to put the league, but we'll all be GMs of one team, and it'll just be fun to see us go through the draft and go through the players, and I think that's the best way for me to get in it. And like I said, when we make these like Instagram announcements, now we can make announcements and stuff like that, or we can do quick hits from just videotaping. Like if we sign a new free agent, like like we can legitimately play it up to be as real as we want it to be. So I think it's a great way for us to get the game across, make our picks for sports, but also give us a core base to talk about, and then not be the same old show, like the same old format of every sport. So this way,
one thing about fantasy baseball, you don't really bet baseball games like that. Like to pick winners in baseball, it's not like the same thing. I think it should be a player-centric show, like where we talk, because guys do this all season long. Whereas Giannis is just like Giannis. Oh, we had a good day, and then it's always Giannis. Baseball.
Well, I like baseball when I bet against pitchers. So that. But yeah, I agree with you.
You start talking about multiple start guys and guys who are getting moved up in the lineup to get more at bats. There's a lot to baseball, fantasy baseball, that I think anybody who's following us for that start sit stuff, we could be able to answer that kind of thing, because that's a more player centric operation.
It'll keep us more involved, give us more to like, you know what I mean? As opposed to like an hour of just spitting out baseball facts that, people, they can hear it anyplace else. So might as well do the legit fantasy style.
Amen.
Brother Ray, you got anything to say before we let this go?
Again, it was an active day today. I mean, we've been waiting for the NBA trade deadline. They didn't disappoint. Some exciting trades, some really good trades. Pat Riley does it again.
Yeah.
What else can you say?
That's true. TJ?
Yeah, I hope Pat Riley mocks Danny Ainge in his Hall of Fame speech. I hope he just mocks him. That'd be awesome.
That would be amazing. Really quick, TJ, because me and Brother Ray did it yesterday, and it's got an amazing amount of views so far. You got any Sweet 16 predictions you want to just throw up?
Yeah, just one time. I took Loyola going to the Elite Eight. I'm going to stick with Loyola. I still think no one's beating Gonzaga, and I think that Syracuse-Houston game is going to be really, really interesting.
Well, yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, so the next show will be what is today? Thursday? No, Sunday. Thank you, Brother Ray. Sunday, 11 a.m. for football. All right, guys, for Legit Fantasy Basketball. And you know what? We really appreciate you going to the legitfantasysports.com. The site visits have gone up. It's been incredible. We appreciate you going to the YouTube channel and liking the videos, watching the videos, obviously. But don't forget to drop a comment. That helps us out as well. The Twitter, following us on Twitter like you have. Instagram, it's been really, 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 really good. So we appreciate it. We want you all to know we appreciate you. So it's me, Mike Lepre, for Legit Fantasy Basketball from Legit Fantasy Sports. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your night. We're gone. I'm going to go pick up dog